Thanks everybody for being here, joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're coming in from. So today we're kind of excited actually because we're talking about a new product. We're going to be talking about the Onyx Pro. It's the newest member of the Onyx video magnifier family. And for those of you that are familiar with the Onyx, you'll know somewhat what you're getting ready to see, but for those of you that are not, I think you'll be in for a treat. So those of you that don't know me, Mike Wood, Strategic Accounts Manager for Education. My email is mwood@vispero.com. Everyone that wants to know, that's vispero.com. And with me today, I've got a very special guest. We were able to squeeze him away from his busy schedule and have him join us here. So Richard Tapping. And
hello, everyone.
Say what?
I'm just saying hello, everyone.
Yeah, so Richard's the vice president, and his email is rtapping@vispero.com, vispero.com as well. So thanks, Richard. I know you're super excited about this product as well. So we'll leave the Q&A till the end. And at the end, you can enter your questions into the chat within Zoom. Press Alt-A to open that. If you want to ask it verbally, raise your hand and we will unmute you. We also will be offering ACV REP credits today. And you can email at the end of this session, email your name, how you want it to appear on the certificate to credits, that's plural, CREDITS @vispero.com. And the opening code for today's session is SCHOOL, SCHOOL. As always, I like to mention our training department puts on spectacular trainings. We do software trainings monthly, hardware trainings like you're attending right now monthly, and then also lots of other trainings throughout the month, as well as we've got all of these archived on our website, also on YouTube and other social media platforms. But if there's a product that you want to see or learn more about, email us at training@vispero.com. That's TRAINING @vispero.com, and let us know what you'd like to see. So exciting stuff here. We are going to be raffling, those of you that come to these regularly, we do a raffle at every session or every presentation. So today's raffle is actually going to be the Onyx Pro. So the MSRP on this product is $32.95. That's $3,295, not $32.95. So you'll get the Onyx Pro camera system, and you'll just have to provide the Surface Pro by Microsoft. We'll announce the winner at the end of the webinar, so stick around to win. So for today's topics, we're going to cover a couple of different things. We're going to cover the Onyx Pro's features. We will do a live demonstration of the Onyx Pro. We'll get to your questions, and hopefully we'll have all of the answers. And then we'll do the raffle, and we'll close off with your CEU credits and let you go from there. So the Onyx Pro is great for multiple things. As you know, if you're familiar with the regular Onyx line of products, you can read books, magazines, mail. You can do distance and self-facing. The Onyx Pro is a much different product, though, in the fact that it's super duper lightweight. It's got a built-in handle so you can carry it wherever you go. Really easy to transport back and forth, whether you're going from class to class or from work to home or wherever you may go. So what comes in the box when you order this? When you order the Onyx Pro, you're going to get, right now I have an image on the screen of actually the cardboard box that it comes in. It says Onyx Pro on the top, Freedom Scientific along the front. And inside of that box, you'll actually get 3 pieces of equipment. So you're going to get the Onyx Pro camera system, which is folded up and actually in a really nice little zipper case that I'm holding up here. So that fits the camera. You get the Onyx Pro stand. The Onyx Pro stand is where that Microsoft tablet will, connect in, and the Surface Pro. And then third, you get a USB flash drive. And on that flash drive is actually the software that runs the camera system, as well as all of the documentation and training manuals for the Onyx Pro. So the Onyx Pro hardware and design, I want to kind of go over to Richard for this, because I think that Richard can do a great service here by kind of showing us the setup of it. So if we could
Yes.
pin Richard.
Sorry, Mike, I can't see the slide, but so you can see here, guys, that I have the stand. This is how it will come once you get it out of the box. It comes folded like this. I actually have my Surface Pro installed inside. I'm going to quickly take that out so I can show you what the stand looks like. So in order just to pull that out, you simply just pull it out from the side here, and the Surface Pro simply comes out. And so this is essentially what you'd get when you open the box, which is an empty stand. You can simply open the stand, very much like a laptop type of form factor. And as Mike said, this is the case that holds the camera, protective case. There is no case for the stand. The idea being that we think a student or professional would simply put the Surface Pro into the stand and use a backpack of their choice to put this in as a laptop. And then we've protected the camera block with this cool little case. And you simply open the case. The camera actually folds for portability. And all you would do here, I hope this is coming through well, there's a little hinge system here with a clip. And so that just folds over, clicks into place. And then you have a single USB cord. This slots on the top of the system, and then it would slide in. Let me grab my Surface Pro again. So it goes in. Now, let me take the keyboard off. So this is what you guys would be familiar with the Surface Pro 7. So it slots into the right-hand side. There's a full bezel here that it sits behind. And then what you do is just push it into the other side, and it will feel like a click. And then down the side of the frame here, you'll see access to USB, USB-C. What's nice about this is the volume control and the power is on top of the Surface Pro, and you still have the headset access to the Surface Pro as well within the stand. So you just take the one cable and plug it in to USB slot, and that is essentially the setup.
So I want to make sure everybody was able to see that, Richard, too, before you go on further.
Yeah.
Terry, are you able to see Richard showing that perfectly well? Or
yes.
You are, okay.
I had him on Spotlight.
All right, great, thank you.
So what's the other? I think I follow on with this, Mike. But
yeah, you do.
What's nice about this is in this setup, of course, this area becomes the working platform. This is where the camera points down on. But what's really nice about the Surface Pro, there is these cover cases, cover keyboards that can be as an accessory with the Surface Pro. And if selected, if chosen, this can actually just magnetically attach to the Surface Pro, and the stand will accommodate this. If you fold it up, so it actually accommodates the keyboard as well if you have that on there. If you don't have it on there and prefer a Bluetooth keyboard to give you a larger working area down here, that's fine too. So you have either option available.
Wonderful. Thanks, Richard. And I think for those of you that that was showing up small or wasn't that large, we can send you a video of that clip of Richard going through the demo after the fact if you need to see that or you'd like to see that. So thanks, Richard.
You're welcome.
So on the slide, I'll just kind of walk through some of the stuff here. So one of the other things that is different about this unit, and Richard will go more in depth about this here shortly, is that this is a 3D printed frame. It's super lightweight. So when I got this unit, I was really super duper impressed because of the fact that it is so lightweight. And as Richard said, you could easily put this in a backpack or if you have some other carrying case, briefcase, whatever, but it does have that built-in handle. So it's folds super easy for storage. And, you know, it weighs coming in at around 4.2 pounds. And that's without the Microsoft Surface Pro 7 in it. But with that in there, it's still really lightweight. And he showed you there actually how you can connect the Surface Pro keyboard if you have that optional, you know, keyboard and whatnot. So next slide, please, Carl. Thanks. So this is another image of actually showing. So Richard showed you live, but here's a still shot of the keyboard. So when it's folded up, of course, it's just like if you were using your Surface Pro, it's going to be covering the screen. But then when you flip that down, it just sits nicely on the folding stand that is the Onyx Pro. and you can remove that if need be. And then that shows you the camera housing up at the top, and that is facing forward on self-face right there in that image. Next slide. Thanks. So Richard, I'd like to have you kind of chat. You know more about this additive manufacturing process than I do, but I think it's pretty new and high tech. So you could share a little bit about that additive manufacturing process with the attendees.
Sure. So, you know, when people mention 3D printing, I'm sure everyone has in mind this kind of at-home, typical layered laser or printer machine that layers the plastic. And that's not what this new additive manufacturing process is. It is technically 3D printed, but it's the latest generation. And I think we have some screenshots up of the type of equipment that actually produces this thing now. Am I right, Mike? I can't see the screen.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, so there's a slide
very
right now showing, yep, those images. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the benefits of this technology is that with this higher grade 3D printing technology, it's actually laser cut. It goes into that machine that you see on there, and you can actually see, I think, an image of how this laser cuts this. It basically goes into a powdered box and then laser cuts the pieces out. And the benefit of using this type of technology is that it actually is very lightweight and it's very adaptable. It's obviously reduces waste as well, which is always a good thing. But it allows us to be very flexible in the way that we approach the design. You know, we've got the hinge systems here are basically one piece. So we've got some very complex mechanical engineering into this thing, but because of the 3D printing technology, we can actually keep that as one single piece, which obviously gives it a great deal of rigidity, while keeping it very lightweight. And the added benefit of this, should Microsoft come out with a Surface Pro 8 and change the form factor, or if there's a desire for multiple types of tablets in this type of form factor, we can fairly quickly respin up through this fast additive manufacturing process and do other versions. So we'll keep very current with this, which is one of the real benefits of this type of technology.
Yeah, it's really neat and impressive. And with that laser image that's on there and stuff, I guess I'd have to say, like, do not try this at home, right?
Definitely, yeah. And there should be a disclaimer on the bottom there.
Yeah, exactly. So next slide, please, Carl. Awesome. So on this one, we've got the different images of the camera. So you've got two dedicated cameras within the Onyx Pro, one for magnification and one for text to speech. So we're giving away a little bit that this does have OCR capability built into it. Your magnification range goes from 1.5x to 32x magnification. It does have built-in LED lighting. There is a switch to turn that on or off. If you find that you're in a really well-lit room, you're more than happy to turn that off, but it does have built-in lighting, which is great. It does have the OCR mode, as I mentioned, so you can scan and read printed text and have it read out loud back to you. One of the other neat things is you can save scanned images and documents in this, onto it. So basically, they're going to save onto your Surface Pro, so you can record live video and take still images as well. And the camera will do distance view, document view, and self-facing view.
And if I'm still spotlight.
Yeah.
Spotlight. Okay, very good. So I'll bring the camera block a little closer so you guys can see what's going on here. So here's your main camera block. Right here, we have a dedicated OCR camera. And here we have an LED block with a glare shield. But to Mike's point, there is a very easy switch on the side that can turn the LEDs on and off. So if there is any glare issues, they can be quickly adjusted. And I just want to touch on the form factor, if I may, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this is really one of the reasons why we did it this way. So what we were trying to achieve with this product was an inline video magnifier, preferably for school use, that a student or a professional could easily get it from room to room. And what's nice about having the stand and the ad hoc camera this way is if the student doesn't need the camera in a particular classroom, this doesn't have to come out. And what you see here with a keyboard on this is something that isn't terribly out of place in a school setting. Should the student need the accommodation of the camera, you can simply unfold it, take it out of the case, unfold it, put it in, plug this thing in, and what we have now is an inline system where my documentation is directly under the camera. Now, this is why I prefer a nice Bluetooth keyboard here, because I can have that Bluetooth keyboard directly in front of this working area and have my reading material right here. And again, to Mike's point, this camera will spin around any which way you wish. It does have an accelerometer in it, so it will detect self-view, distance, remembers the color modes that it was in, things like that.
And, you know, I think one of the other cool things with that, Richard, is the fact that since it is that Surface Pro 7, you know, I'm kind of giving a little bit away from the live demo, but the fact that, as you mentioned, if you don't need that camera to do distance and you're a Zoom Text user, you can have Zoom Text installed on that Surface Pro and use all of your magnification built into Zoom Text. And then if you need to add that camera, you saw how quickly everybody there, you know, just connect it, plug in that USB, and you're good to go. I mean, it takes little to no time at all.
Yep, that's right.
So with the OCR Pro, the Onyx Pro OCR software, it's simple and intuitive. The design is really nice. You're going to see it here shortly in the live demo. On the slide that we have up now, at the bottom of that, you've got kind of the menu button. So you're seeing what the different options are within the different menus inside of the software. You've got your color contrast options. You've got your brightness, contrast adjustments. It's touchscreen and also can be controlled by keyboard buttons. So if you want to, you know, do anything like that, so if you're customizing, zooming in, zooming out, changing contrast, you can do it on the touchscreen with your keyboard or even with a mouse if you want to plug a mouse in. You've got that dedicated OCR camera to view things easily and capture those full page documents. And as I just mentioned, you can integrate it with Zoom Text 2022 screen magnification software. So.
And we'll demo that.
Yes, we will.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be able to. Yeah, the only thing that forewarned when you're trying to demo Zoom Text, the magnification, and it's specifically designed this way. I've been on some, you know, webinars before where somebody's doing a live demo and they're using a different, you know, screen magnifier, and you're basically viewing what they're viewing. So it's difficult to follow along. But with Zoom Text, it's not going to basically push the magnification settings through to all of you at home. So I'll flip my other camera around and show you how to, you know, what it looks like. So next slide, Carl, I think is the live demo, right? Yeah, we're on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kick you off, Carl, and share my screen. And so you should all see my desktop here of my Surface Pro. And you'll notice here, I'm going to drag it just to the middle just so you see. So here is the icon that you would have for Onyx Pro software. So there's the icon. I'm just going to double click that. And quickly it pops up that software. And you'll notice on the screen here, you've got text. I've got a textbook underneath my camera. One of the other things you might notice is you've got this large arrow at the top. And if I click on that, this is the default software. So I like to customize mine a little bit, but by default, this is what you're going to see when you install the software. And the menu or all the tools are up on the top of the screen. So going from, you know, left to right, I could go over all those, but I'll wait until I show you what I like to do for a setup. So first thing I did was I went in here to your settings tab, which is kind of the cog looking thing here on the far right-hand side. And you'll notice in your settings, you've got some different options here of where to save your documents. But the first thing I want to do is come down here to menu bar alignment. And I want to change mine. You can change it from top to bottom or left to right. So I'm going to choose right. And then I'm going to just click on this large arrow here to the top left to get me out of the menu. So now you'll notice that arrow that I talked about earlier that was at the top in the middle is now in the middle on the right-hand side. And when I click that, you'll notice now all of my menu options are on the left and the right-hand side. I like this just because I think that it's easier to access, especially from the touch screen. You're not reaching underneath the camera. And then also, you know, you've just got your full central vision here as well of the text. So really nice, easy, self-explanatory. A lot of these options are here. So I'm going to start on the top right, and you'll see the magnifying glass with the plus. And if I click on that, you'll notice, and there's going to be a little bit of a lag just because I'm going through Zoom. I'm using Zoom actually on that Surface Pro to push this out, through as well. So that's another nice feature you can do. So by pressing that, I get my magnification in. Obviously, pressing the minus, I'm going to get my magnification decreased or zoom out. And below that, I've got a kind of I feel like that's a Bob Ross, right? I feel like we're the painter's, palette of colors. So that's going to allow you to swap your color contrast. So I just swapped over to high contrast. And then I've got here a white text on black background. And what I do want to say, and then black text on white background, and then back to true color. And I'll show you that that's true color there by showing you an image of a house there. So one of the things I also want to mention is if you go back into settings there actually, and you come over here to color modes, you have a lot of different options that you can check off. I chose to just check off high contrast, white on black, and black on white. But you can add any of these other ones in by just checking the box next to them, and that will then be added into your presets. So now we're back here to our menu. Moving further down on the right-hand side, the next option down is your OCR camera. And then of course your settings is the bottom right. Moving over to the top left, your X is going to X you out of the program altogether. Then you've got your capture button or your camera. It's a camera image, but that's going to do a snapshot of what's on the screen or in the distance view. Below that is your record button. So this will actually do a live recording, which I think is great, especially in the classroom setting, to think about if you're facing this up on the smart board or wherever and you're watching the teacher do the lecture, you can take a quick snapshot of that, or excuse me, a video of that, and then save it to the Surface Pro. Below that is your brightness and contrast option. So you can actually customize this and you can increase or decrease your brightness and your contrast. And that goes for inside of, sorry, I clicked over there. That goes for inside of any of your different colorations. So click on that again.
Particularly useful for enhanced color mode, I think.
Yeah, and that's where I found the best use of it. When you're in that second, right. So I just switched over to enhanced color mode. Yep. And when you're looking at pictures or photos, and I can throw a photo under this actually. So I've got a photo of a house there, but then I've also got just a photo of dogs here. And you'll notice, so I'm going to toggle you through here just to show you. Let me get out of that. And I'm going to toggle you through your colors. So there's obviously a high contrast, black and whites. So here is your natural true color. And then there's your enhanced. So you'll notice it brightens it up a little bit. And if it's too bright, I just come over here and I can decrease my brightness and I can customize this. And I can also decrease any of the contrast if I want to. And if at any moment you find, oh, I went too far. So you'll notice here, and there's a little lag again, don't forget over Zoom. If I notice at any time that I went too far, I can actually just click on the icon here on the left, whether it be the contrast or brightness, and that'll bring me back to the default. And then to go back to your regular image, just click on that option again on the menu. Yep. And then you can toggle.
Too easy to get caught in over adjusting something and then not seeing anything on the screen and not quite knowing how to get back to where you were. So exactly. That's a nice quick way of resetting where you were.
And then if you want to access any of your saved documents, so if I want to take a snapshot of this, I can take a snapshot of this. So again, that's the camera. You heard a little shutter sound there. And this is just an image. So there's no text on this. If it were text, which I'll show you this in a second, I can actually click on this little icon here of the man with his voice, and that would scan it and read it. But now if I want to save this, I just click on the little disc down here to save, and it's now saved. Come up here and click on my X to exit out of that. And it's going to bring me back to my live view. If for some reason, so I'm going to swap that photo out and go back to text here for a second. And
OCR document.
And so you've got two options here. You can actually, on the right-hand side, you've got an OCR camera. And so that is the image of a page of paper with a little camera on the bottom right of it. So I'm going to click on that. And here is the entire page of this book. And down the bottom right-hand side, so at the top, you've got an X, which would close you out of this. Or on the bottom right, you've got the camera image. So if I click on that camera, I hear the snapshot again. I then will click on this icon of the man with the voice to do the scanning. You'll get a little hourglass that pops up on the screen. And
Lafayette House, Marblehead, Massachusetts. The house facing you has not.
So I'm going to click just to pause that for a second. So now with this, I can actually scroll through this. I'm using a mouse right now. Or I can actually tap on the screen and zoom in, and using my finger, I can actually move that document around. And wherever I want to click, I can click.
House facing you has nothing to do with Lafayette himself, but everything to do with his carriage on his.
So does that sound come over okay?
Yeah, I heard it well.
Awesome. So that'll then read it. You've got two options as well. So this is kind of the live mode where I'm allowing it to track, word for word. It's highlighting the word in the text the exact way that it's viewed. Or you have another option where it would just show you all of the text. And I can show you where you would change that setting afterwards too. And again, if I want to save this document to come back to later, I just click on that disk to save it, and it's going to save that for me. And then I can exit out of this.
And that saves that to a default folder that's set in the settings menu for pictures. So you'd use your snapshot if you were just trying to capture something that you wanted to save, perhaps a document. But if you want the full page, you'd use that dedicated OCR camera, which will allow you to, if you just wanted to capture full page and save it, you could do that, or capture full page and speak it, and it would do that. And so you have a dedicated folder for a snapshot of pictures and a dedicated folder for text that's specified within the settings menu.
That's great. So easy to find the stuff that you've saved. You'll know where it's at.
Exactly.
And then one of the other things I like is when I come out of that mode where it was reading, it brings me right back to my OCR, because oftentimes you may be looking to OCR multiple pages from a document. So it brings me back here. So if I want to scan in a secondary page, I can do so. Or I can just close out and come back to my main document. The live view again, which you'll see because my hand is there. So, and I do want to show you one other thing here. So someone had asked, I saw in the chat just pop up. I didn't see all the questions, so I apologize, but I did see one here. So it asked about the speech. So you can come in here and change the speech. So you can change it from English, German, French, Dutch, or Spanish. So those are your options if you have text in that language. So if you have German text, you can choose that to read that, scan that. You do have different voices. So you've got Susan, Tom, and those are American English. Or if you want a British accent, you have Daniel and Kate.
I like Daniel.
I wonder why you're partial to Daniel. And I got to say, actually, for coming on the education side of things, it's funny because, using the text to speech sometimes, oftentimes people are like, oh, the kids go in, they mess around with stuff. But I had a school that actually had super good success with using Daniel to read to the students. And they were reading Harry Potter. And the teacher found that when they switched it over to the British Voice, of course, it just made the students pay attention a little bit more. And they found that they comprehended the reading better, actually. So kind of fun.
Note to self, I have to perfect my English accent.
So that you can also change your speech volume. And that's within the software, but then also don't forget, you also have the volume control on your Surface Pro. So you can do that. And then you also have your speech speed, slow, medium, or fast for speech. Oh, I should go back in. So sorry, I closed out. So we're back to that live view. I want to go back into the settings one more time here. So bottom right. And also show you there. So Richard had mentioned about saving, where your documents are saved. So your pictures are saved into My Pictures and Onyx Pro folder. But you can customize this. If you want to name it something different or have them stored somewhere else, you can do that. And that's super easy right within the general settings. When I was having that read earlier and it was reading in the exact view and highlighting that text, word for word, that was because the reading mode was set to original. I can also change that to wrapped text, and that will get rid of your exact view and just show you the text on the screen. So the other thing I want to show, is there anything, I'm going to show distance view next, Richard. Is there anything else? Oh, you know what? Let me show the, I'll show that when I'm doing the distance, the recording there as well. But if there's anything else you think of that I haven't shown, let me know.
I think you've covered it, just except for distance.
So I'm going to flip the camera up here, and I've got across my room here, got a painting on the wall. It's probably about 12 feet away. And you're going to see here, so I'm going to click on the plus, and that's going to zoom us in. And I'm just moving my camera as well. And you can see here, it actually does a great job of even getting in there to see that, the Grand Canal, Venice is showing up on the screen. And that's a little plaque at the bottom. You'll also notice now at the bottom of the screen, there's a red bar. So what is that red bar, right? What that red bar is letting you know is that you've gone through your optical zoom and you're now into a digital zoom, which will allow you, and I'm touching the screen right now, and I'm actually able to pan across on this image that I have on the screen. And when I zoom out, that red bar goes away. So that's really, oh, go ahead, Richard.
So I was just going to say, so a great use case for that is what it does, it would do, if you use the on-screen controls, the button or mouse using, the icons, it will step through the available optical zoom, then go into digital, just like any other magnification device. What's fairly unique about this is you can step up the optical zoom to a level that, perhaps hones in on a whiteboard. And then you can activate the digital zoom whenever you like by pinching the screen. So what that happens then is that you're essentially maximizing the resolution of optical when you're in the digital, and then you can pan around that live image. So if you were perhaps following a teacher from, if the teacher's walking around and speaking, you'd be able to do that on the screen. So that's one of those nice benefits of when you're zooming up, it will step through the optical, then it will go into digital. But if you're not going through all the optical and then you want it to pinch, you're gonna find some really good sweet spots of being able to get really nice resolution using the optical, and then double in on the digital and still be able to pan around that live image. Really cool feature. And when you come out, it's going to step back through the digital first and then step back out the optical. So it's kind of intelligent that way.
Yeah, that's nice. The panning feature is really nice.
Yeah.
And so with that live view, I'll also just show you here on the left-hand side, that record button. So when I click that, it gives me an auditory noise to let me know that it's recording. And then it gives me a visual down the bottom right-hand side. That's a big red dot, kind of bullseye blinking, letting me know that it is recording this. So whatever I see on the screen here, it's recording and putting that into, when I save it, into a file. So then that record button on the left-hand side now becomes the stop button. And when I click that stop button, again, I get a little auditory noise letting me know that it's stopped. And if I then want to access that, I can click on the folder down the bottom left. And so you'll notice I have some files from the 10th, so 2 days ago, and then I have today's date, the 12th. And when I click on that, I have my image that I saved earlier. And now down the bottom, you'll notice that the toolbar has changed, and I can actually swipe through. Auditory noise to let me know that it's recording. And then it gives me a visual down the bottom right-hand side. You'll get actually the go through. I don't want to listen to myself there again. But what that'll do is you can go through and listen to or see what you've saved. And from there, you can also, if you wanted to, run OCR on an image if it was a text-based image as well. And you can delete the image if you'd like to. This button here will ignore your columns and whatnot. So if you have text-based, stuff and you want to ignore the columns when you're doing the OCR, you can click that and that'll do that for you. So really easy. Yep.
Just a word. Sorry, just a word on the file manager. So there's essentially two places that you can get access to. One that you've seen has its own file manager that you can quickly retrieve while you're in the app, which is kind of nice. But similarly, because of those default folders in my documents and my pictures, you've got a dedicated Onyx Pro folder. So if you were uploading a Word document or a form perhaps that you've got in Classroom, you're saving it up there, you want to retrieve it later and then submit it, you can easily go to the file manager within the Windows laptop. You'll see that file there. You can manipulate it and then copy it across to a Google Docs or OneDrive or whatever the chosen Classroom environment might be.
Great, good to know. And on that point, what I'll do is I'll actually close out of this Onyx Pro software. And what I'd like to do is show you, so I also have ZoomText 2022 installed on here. And if I start up my ZoomText,
this is where it gets tricky though by design, because we don't, as you said earlier, we don't allow the visual enhancements of a ZoomText presenter to come out to the audience. So trying to demonstrate how this operates with ZoomText through Zoom is challenging. So we'll do a third camera, I guess, right, Mike?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll flip around. I'm still live on my camera here, I think on my laptop. So I will flip that around and show you that. So let me actually just move this thing here so I have some room to do that.
ZoomText Magnifier Reader, Quick Access Bar.
And I'm going to just shut my speech off on that there, just so that
Voice disabled.
I don't need that capability. And so what we might want to do is spotlight my video here for a second. And see what I see here. Awesome, thank you. So you'll see there, you've got the image. Does that show through okay there for you? And
you can see it.
Awesome, thanks, Terry. So inside of ZoomText, so you'll notice here, we do have some magnification actually going on here. So there's your magnification. And over in Tools, you have an option for camera. And if I click on that, what that's going to do is actually give me
camera horizontal split.
So you'll see here on the top of the screen, so this is a horizontal split right now. On the top of the screen is actually the Onyx Pro camera. So I'm seeing the text that I have in my textbook. And I can actually zoom in to that if I want to, so I can still control that. So down here on the bottom, I have ZoomText camera control. So I can click zoom in. And when I do that, that'll zoom in on that screen for me. So you'll see that's enlarged there now. I can also change the color contrast and all that, zoom out, zoom in. And I can also change where it's docked.
Camera vertical split.
So now I can do vertical split. Yes.
I was just going to say so ZoomText, just to clarify, so ZoomText, if ZoomText 2022 is installed and the Onyx Pro software is installed, ZoomText will automatically recognize the camera. And as Mike has demonstrated, it will automatically come up in a dock mode. Just one thing of note, when you first launch that combination, you will have to select, it will automatically recognize the camera, it will default the camera, but it's going to ask you to launch the camera the first time. Every time you do that and you go back through that tools menu to activate the camera, it's going to automatically launch the camera for you. I just want to make that clarification.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Richard. I forgot that part about it.
Yeah.
Because once it's done, and you don't have to worry basically about doing that again.
It wants to make sure, it doesn't want to override, perhaps if you have another camera the first time you do it. So it's asking you, do you want to launch the camera essentially the first time you do it? And from there, it will become the default and it will automatically launch it every time. You can override that again if you wish, but then it's assuming that, okay, this is your camera of choice. And so we'll automatically launch it.
And so it's nice, the fact that you can choose, where you want that docked, whether it be, side by side, top or bottom. Split. And it's nice to give you that split of the screen. So you have your, you may have something magnified here on the bottom or wherever you choose to have it. And then you may want to, decide that you're copying material into a Word document or something like that. And so we did want to show that. And unfortunately, it doesn't show through, Zoom.
By design.
By design that way, yes. And so I'm going to flip us back around here, and you get to see my lovely mug again. And I am going to close out of that. So I think now, without further ado, was there anything?
So you went to full mode?
Oh, I did not go to, I did earlier. Yeah, I was in full mode earlier.
Okay. So I can't see the screen, sorry.
Yeah. I can show it again.
Yeah, so when you're in that dock view, to Mike's point, you may have the camera in a distance mode, perhaps, looking at notes on a whiteboard, taking notes on a Word document within the Zoom text environment if using that dock mode or split mode. But if you wanted to use it as a dedicated, video magnifier, you can, in that Zoom text UI, you can go to full. I think it's called full, right?
So if I change from camera to full view?
Full view, yeah. So then full view essentially puts you back into the app environment that Mike was demonstrating earlier.
Horizontal split.
Yep.
Right.
And that automatically opens up the Onyx Pro software for you.
Right. What does?
When I did full view there for full camera.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And that takes you into the full native app Onyx Pro software without a split view.
Right, from within Zoom text, which is really nice. It's seamlessly designed that way, which is nice.
Yep. And then when you come out of that full view, so you're done with the magnification that you need at that particular point, it will re-engage whatever settings you had in a full desktop view within Zoom text, within the Windows system.
And so there we are again to our split screen with my desktop on the top using Zoom text. And you'll see Zoom text right there. And on the bottom is the distance camera, and you'll be able to see that's live because I'm going to switch back down to the text in the book. And there you go. So good stuff. So if there's anything else, I can't think of anything else, Richard, that I may have skipped. We can.
No, I guess all I will do is just suggest, how this is packed away. So I mentioned earlier the ease for the student, assuming they want the ad hoc camera set up. Could just slots on the top here. Actually, that's one point I should have made out. So you see this little, you see that well? Little slot there, and a little grab. Oh, am I?
And then that way. There you go.
I'm good. You can see me.
You should be good now. Yep.
Okay. So you'll see a little slot on top of the handle here, and the camera just slots on top of that. And it can come off like this. And when the student's not needing or is done for the day, this little clip here for portability just clips off it. It folds flat. You can wrap up the single cable on the back. Nice protective hard case. Slot that in there. Close it. Zip it up. Throw it in your backpack, and that thing's nice and solid. And then you've got, if you just want to use your laptop for the day, then you still have this environment to work in. When you're done, pick it up, and that's it. You still there, Mike?
Mike, you've muted yourself.
You think I'm a novice. Yeah, I muted so that I wasn't over talking you on that when you were doing that demo. I was just saying, nothing, obviously. What I was saying was just how slim that design is. It's so sleek and slim and lightweight that, you can't beat the portability.
We were trying, with this unit, we're trying to, as much as we can, get it integrated with the mainstream. So, there isn't this some monstrosity that the student or professional is having to carry around. And again, if it's ad hoc, you only need to get this out when you're going to need that magnification. So,
yeah. So without further ado, what I'll do here is jump over to some questions. I think we've got some in the chat. So it's Alt-H if you want to, open up the chat or whatnot and type your question there. Raise your hand if you want to ask it verbally. So first thing we got, I'll start at the top here. The code. Someone said, if you've not used a Surface Pro, they are extremely light That will not add much weight to this at all, which is so true. It is
one of the reasons why we've chosen this unit. It's fairly powerful with Windows machines going, and the big benefit with this thing, obviously, is it can integrate with Zoom text, which for the classroom is key.
It's phenomenal, yeah. Someone said there are many models of the Surface Pro. Is there a recommended model or a baseline of recommended GPU or amount of RAM? And
me to
I
answer
think, no, go ahead, go for it, shoot.
So the Surface Pro, I believe, comes in i3, i5, and i7 for sure. I think this is an i5 that I've got here. I think I picked this up for about $650, something like that. But the nice thing about, so this is built specifically for the Surface Pro 7, Surface Pro 7, but the Surface 6, and I think even the 5, and maybe even the 4, is actually exactly the same form factor. So if you have an older system for now, you shouldn't have any issues with it fitting in the stand, which is kind of nice. But if Microsoft do switch up the form factor, or we decide to do a different tablet, based on consumer demand, or maybe an iPad version, we can easily spin this into something different. I say easily, not quite easily, but you get the idea.
Someone asked, is it just Zoom text, or could you also run Fusion on that?
I have Fusion on this, actually. And so I have Fusion on this. I was running it with a Braille display just to test that environment, and running Zoom text, obviously, in parallel with that for the integration with the Onyx Pro. So the answer to that is very much yes.
Great. And then our good old friend Bobby Lakey, I'm recognizing some names here in the chat, said, yes, Fusion works great if you're using an i7 processor. So thanks, Bobby. Did the price quoted include the Zoom text license, or is that additional? That is additional, Frank. So the price quoted was not with the Zoom text license.
And we've done that largely because most people have a license already and just want to integrate their own license. But the nice thing about this as well is the way that we've done this: the form factors, the camera, the stand, and then having the ad hoc, license potentially and Windows machine, is that you have a local dealer perhaps in your territory that does a lot of integration work for you. They'd be more than happy to source the Surface and integrate the Zoom text license as well, especially if you already have the license, of course. So.
And then Douglas, we answered that question about the optional voices for the OCR. My mother says, hi, everyone. We've got—
Hi, Mike's mom. Shout out.
Yep, exactly. She's usually, you look a little different than Michelle Williams, because the last few have been with Michelle Williams, and today's special guest is Richard. Could we have the OCR feature in Zoom Text and Fusion 2022 instead of the Onyx Pro software?
Good question. Not yet.
All right. And then Fusion does have the OCR capability that JAWS would have, though. So you could do the, if you've got the Pro Camera or something, or if you want to do the convenient OCR, you can do that in Fusion.
Yeah, I haven't you'd have to test it. I haven't perfected it yet. But we have the nice thing about this as well, we have quite a few tweaks planned to do some further improvements. So watch this space as well. And all that will be, largely software. So we'll just update if you already own the stand and the camera, there's nothing else to do. It's the rest of all that intelligence will be software, which we'll give out for free, of course, as we make improvements.
So someone said, love how it folds up, design, slim. How sturdy is the camera? Is there much movement? Julie Akers asked. Julie, I've been messing around with it here, and I've been impressed with it. You're going to get some movement, I think, if you're, bouncing around the desk or whatnot. But
that's a good question. So one of the in order to try and get it into this form factor, this inline type form factor in a laptop environment, you can see that by having the camera reach out this far, a sturdy platform is obviously, like any magnifier, is going to be preferred. And there might be, we do have image stabilization, and so in distance, depending on how far you're out, if there's if you're on a unstable surface, again, just like any other magnifier, it's going to resonate through the image. So always want to try and make sure you get a nice firm platform. The other thing I will say is the base on this stand is not 3D printed, and so this base is actually metal base, so it gives it a lot of rigidity, which is really very nice. And the camera itself, of course, as I think Mike probably demonstrated, rotates any which way you like. I mean, you've got full control about where this thing will point, which is again a really nice flexible feature.
Correct. Let's see. Is the camera open to other apps such as Teams, Zoom, or Meet? And I just actually pulled that up here on the Surface Pro, and it does look like using the Onyx camera, you can actually, within Zoom, it's working. So I don't know if we tested that, Richard, with anything, but it is working within Zoom. It's an option under there to choose my Onyx camera, the document camera from Onyx, or then the Surface Pro camera.
Those come up in Zoom?
They do. Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, they do.
So yes, so Paul, that to answer your question, yes, it looks like it works within Zoom. So I'm assuming
good question. Apparently,
that. You just taught us a little something there too, Paul. I haven't even played with this that much because I just got the unit the other day, and yeah, so that's pretty neat. And then we had someone ask if they could be unmuted to ask a question. So let me just find you in the box here. I just asked you to unmute. So you should be able to unmute.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I was gonna ask you, my first question for you is the Onyx Pro accessible for people who are totally blind like me, or is it specifically a device for people who have low vision? And my second question for you, Paul, if I remember correctly, are you with Sight and Sound Technology?
So
I think you're addressing that to me.
I was addressing
it's the accent, right? I'm not associated. No, I actually work for Vispero, although I do know the folks at Sight and Sound very well.
Oh, I see. Are you in the US currently?
I am in the US. I'm actually based in the Clearwater office. That's where I am right now at Vispero. Yeah, and I have
okay.
But to answer your other question, so sorry for the confusion. Big shout out to Sight and Sound. This is designed as a magnification system, to answer your first question. So there is a dedicated camera for magnification. So it's largely for low vision users, although to the point earlier, if you have someone that's crossover, it will run Fusion. Of course, it's a Windows laptop. So all the power that you have in Windows means you can run Fusion, run Braille, run the magnification system, whichever, very adaptable that way.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And are you considering selling the Surface Pro also? And that would be, at this point, I don't believe we are.
I've toyed with that idea, and here's why I've concluded that it's probably not the best idea. So one, people sometimes already own a Surface laptop, and so I don't want that to be redundant. It would put another X amount of money on it. I don't want to have to mark it up by handling it, which again just makes it less competitive for our customers. So it's much more efficient for a customer to either use a local dealer, which is largely how I look at this product is go to a local dealer, let them source in the camera system and stand, and specify the requirements that you have for the Windows laptop, just like you would any other laptop. So if you want Zoom Text or Fusion, you want additional accommodations like Braille potentially, the integration of the software, they could do all of that for you. They could source the laptop, the tablet. And so I felt like it would be rather redundant of us if we were to package this up with the Surface. And like I said, it would be less economical for our customers if we were to do that. And I didn't want to burden them with that. So that's why we didn't.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Richard. And we've got some dealers on the call as well. And I think that's, one of the key points with our dealer channel is the fact that they do such a great job of setting the systems up, whatever the product is, not just the Onyx Pro, but then also the training aspect. They'll go out and do the training with whether it be the teacher, the student, or the individual at their home. So,
and like many other Windows systems, it's not just, it won't be just the Onyx Pro software that's on this, which is, again, the reason why, dealers are an integral part into making sure that the solution is integrated in a way that's correct for the specific user we're trying to meet the needs for.
So we had, does it allow a user, Julie Akers asked, does it allow a user to capture a form and fill it out and send it back to the instructor, etc.? So I'm assuming you mean, capture an OCR, or take a snapshot and then fill it out, and that would be no.
It would capture the document, save it into a dedicated folder. From there, you could access it, edit it, and then send it on. Again, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel of a Windows environment, just trying to give you a very simple, intuitive way to, if you do want to take a snapshot of a document, you have that full page camera document view there that you can use that to capture the document. It goes into a folder, and from there, you would go through the normal process of manipulating it and then sending it on if desired.
James Fossey asks, is there voice output for the toolbar controls?
That is a poignant question, and there is not currently. Good question.
And then, let's see, could we buy only the camera and not the entire system that we can use it with any other laptop?
So you need the stand, basically. You don't, you could buy the stand. So if you didn't have a laptop, you didn't want to use a Surface and you just wanted to use this as a stand and put your own laptop in front or have your laptop next to it, this will work with any Windows machine, right? It's got your single USB. You could load the software onto that Windows machine, a desktop, whatever. Of course, some of this is redundant because you don't have a Surface Pro, but you'd need the stand to give you the right focal distance using this camera. And there's not really any other way for this camera to attach to anything. It's designed to sit on top of the handle of the stand.
Mm-hmm. Can you import documents into the OCR software, such as a PDF document?
You can. You can save it to the default folder, and then it should be available through the folders menu within the app.
Okay. And then you'd be able to open it within there. Great. And then Julie added to her comment saying a student could take a snapshot of a test and enlarge it, fill it out, and then send it back to the instructor theoretically.
Yeah, although just to be clear, they wouldn't be filling it out within the camera system, right? They'd be saving the document to a local folder, and from there manipulating that document with zoom text, presumably, hopefully, and then submitting it on from there. So again, we're not trying to reinvent, what tools already exist, and very good tools for that matter. We're just trying to give you a way to easily capture, a full page document, save it, and then you can manipulate it.
Great. So that seems to be the last of the questions there. So Carl, I'm going to toss it back over to you just to, finish off the slides, finish off the credits and all that stuff, all the other housekeeping info. If you have any questions, feel free, you can still ask them. So we already did that. Next slide, please. So the raffle. So we had all the names put into, while we were working hard here, we had somebody at the main office put all the names into a program and pull out a random number generator and
Richard tapping.
Not today. And the winner is
never win anything.
Richard Lampert. Richard Lampert.
Congratulations.
So it is another Richard.
I was close.
Congratulations, Richard. So what you want to do is just drop me an email at mwood@vispero.com and send me your information, and I'll take care of getting that out to you. And next slide, please. For credits. So the closing code. So the closing code for today is summer, SUMMER. So the closing code is summer, and you can email us at credits, CREDITS, at Vispero, VISPERO.com, and give the opening and closing code, your name, how you want it to appear on the certificate, and we'll take care of getting those out to you. So I want to thank everybody, and also highly recommend You're welcome. Thank you, Thomas. Connect with us. So, gosh, this keeps growing and growing with all the different social media available out there. So we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We've got our fantastic podcasts, our blog. You obviously can email us. You've got lots of different email ways to reach us. We're also on TikTok and Clubhouse. I know Clubhouse has a great following. There's lots of great software stuff. So if any of you are JAWS users, Zoom Text, Fusion, whatever, check out our Clubhouse. But yeah, follow us. We're always doing different giveaways. We're mentioning, these different events that we're having live as well. So feel free.
A shout out to the training department, which those guys are pumping out all kinds of material. So be sure to connect. Yeah, it's really good stuff. We get super feedback about the stuff that they're doing. So
yes, definitely. That's great, Richard. They're doing fantastic work.
Yeah.
And so thanks, everybody. I appreciate you joining us. I hope this was informative. Again, we talked about the Onyx Pro today, and feel free to drop us an email if you have any questions after the fact. And yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Richard, for joining us too.
Very good to be here. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
That's fun.
I have one more quick question for you.
Yeah, sure thing.
While I have you on the line, sorry, I think I think I mispronounced or misunderstood your name, Richard. My bad. And
That's okay.
my other, I'm sorry. What's that?
That's okay. No problem.
Yeah. My other
well,
question for you was in reference to Freedom Scientific's international dealers. I was curious to know if I know this is a U.S. based company, if there's any partnerships or anything that you guys do in third world / other developing countries. Because like when I looked on the Vespero website, I saw that there was like one JAWS dealer in Japan, one in the UK, and one in Germany, I think. But is there one that goes for like smaller countries like Australia and New Zealand, and one that's for like India or other third world / developing countries?
We are very much a global country. We have reach, I believe, and representation into around, not at last count, this might be old data, but at last count was around 90 countries. Many of those are represented by local distribution or dealerships, and some we have our own subsidiaries in. But there aren't many that we don't cover these days. So my recommendation is if you actually go to the Freedom Scientific website, which is what this particular product, this Onyx Pro, will be branded. Vespero is the parent company. And underneath that Vespero parent company, you have Freedom Scientific, Enhanced Vision, and Optelec as the brands. This particular Onyx Pro, as I said, is Freedom Scientific. So go to freedomscientific.com. There's a dealer locator on that page, and you can select one of numerous countries, and it will give you the local regions option for representation.
Okay, because I was in the JAWS headquarters website, the JAWS headquarters section, and I looked at the international section. I see your comment right there, Kathleen. It says it only mentions a certain few countries in there for international JAWS.
I'm not familiar with the JAWS headquarters
okay.
dealer page, but what I will say is on the main. Yeah, what I would say is go to the main freedomscientific.com website. Then there's a dealer, I think it's called Dealer Locator in the headers.
It's find a dealer in the top right hand.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And from there you should get the worldwide view of all the dealer representation for Freedom Scientific.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a good day.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And then Richard, a question, and you know this better than I do, is when is this going to be available? Someone just asked what the availability was.
So I expect it will be the week after next. It will be probably the last week, hopefully the week before. So the end of next week or the week after is when we'll likely start shipping. So we're just finalizing tests and packaging and things of that nature at this point. And so imminently, by the end of the month, let's put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
Yeah, and thanks everybody. We got a lot of thank you for everything in the chat. So you're all welcome. Thank you for taking the time to join us, everyone. We appreciate it.
Thanks very much.